Hey cats, what's happening? It is another cold, blustery day. We're coming up on the end of May. I think tomorrow is the 1st of June. So, I'm looking forward to some warmer weather because it's like in the 50s today and it's going to drop down into the 40s tonight. I mean, that's practically like winter weather. And it hasn't served me very well around here. I already lost one zucchini, and I lost one summer squash. So I got that summer squash is still alive, and this zucchini over here is struggling. So I do have some sunflowers coming up over here, and my tomatoes seem to be faring okay. But everything seems to be stunted because of all the rain we've had and the cold weather. It just isn't very conducive to, a good healthy garden. I was talking to a horticulturist this morning about my lavender plant that's like completely dead. I do have just a little bit of growth on it right there. And I said, gee whiz, my lavender was doing so well. How come it died? Well, they said because it was a very wet spring. They said, where do you have it planted? And I said, well, it is a pretty wet area. I mean, when I planted these zinnias here, I was basically planting them in mud. And they said, well, that's probably what killed it because they don't like wet. And this spring, it was so wet, it choked out the roots of my lavender and killed it. So I thought about replacing it with another one, but she said, well, if you put another one there and it continues to be wet in the future, it's not going to live either. They like dry, high ground. So I'm looking around. I really don't have any place to plant any healthy lavender. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, if I put it way up at this end of the garden, that's the driest spot because it kind of slopes downhill this way. That end of the garden is super wet, super wet. So, yeah, oh well. Maybe I just can't grow lavender. I love it though. I mean, it's one of my favorite plants. It's so fragrant and so beautiful. It's really nice and warm in here. For many years I've had this wreath up here, and it's kind of more of a Christmassy thing. Turn the light on there, maybe you could see it a little better. I put some apples and some berries on it and stuff to brighten it up. There's pine cones on it, but from a distance you kind of lose that stuff there. It just kind of all blends into the wall and it just looks like a drab pine wreath. So I thought, what can I replace that with that'll go more, in line with what I have in the house? Because that's kind of, I think it's kind of Christmassy, and I don't like this way this wall is. I just don't like what I have on there. I made this last year out of crushed pine cones that I picked up off the road, and I think that's pretty cool. I like things that I make, but I wanted to replace that, so I'd been doing some research, and I found this thing on my iPhone that I thought was interesting. I was looking for like rustic wall hangings and stuff, and I came across this. It made out of like pallets, pieces of pallet wood, and they kind of burned around the edges of the cross. And I looked at that and I thought, you know what, I can probably make that. So I thought, well, first of all, I need pallets. So I went to Tractor Supply, TSC, and I asked the manager in there, I said, do you have any pallets? I know there's pallets out back. I said, do you have any pallets that I could take? And she said, well, there's a scrap pile out there of scrap pallets. We do have the returnable ones, but They're stacked by the building, but there's a pile of scrap pallets out back, and you can dig through that and take whatever you want. So I did. I went back out behind the building, and I found the pile of scrap pallets, and I dug through it, and I found 2 pallets. That's about all I needed, because there's plenty of wood in these pallets. So I disassembled the pallets, and I got, quite a few pieces of this pallet wood. And there was, some of them were in different widths and whatnot. But it was pretty good material all around. I was able to put it all together, and I made the exact copy of the thing that I saw online. So I framed it up here on the back to hold it all together. I got a little wire cable up here for hanging it up on the wall. And like I said, I used my map torch, and I just kind of burned around the edges of the cross. And then I stained it with a golden oak stain. You know, that Varathane golden oak. Now, I'm not completely done yet, because what I'm going to do, and I've ordered them online, little battery-operated mini lights. And those I'm going to string up behind this thing, so that at night, when this is hanging up on the wall, that cross will get illuminated. And it should look pretty special. So I'm kind of excited about it. Now, how did I put all this together? I didn't sit there. You know how hard pallet lumber is. I mean, it's like hard as a rock. It's made out of like oak and really hardwood, kind of rough sawn. Junk wood, pretty much, they make out of it. So I was able to make a purchase at Harbor Freight. I got this Brad staple nail gun. So it holds either Brads or Staples. It's Banks is the name of it. You know, it's just kind of some off-brand. And I saw a review of it, and the guy said it worked really well for him, so I went ahead and bought it. Now, it takes one of two things. It'll either take these Brad nails, and these are 1.25 inches. I haven't used those yet. They're 18 gauge. This only takes 18 gauge. And then I also got staples, galvanized staples. So, yeah, these ones are 1/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch long. And I didn't use those. I used these, and these are 3/4 inch staples. So that was, about perfect for this, because you can see they went all the way through and halfway into the, I stapled them from the bottom, so none of the staples came through on the top. So I was pretty happy with that. And it drove them all the way in. It did a really nice job. I've been wanting a Brad nailer for a long time, and had looked at them and everything. This thing was like $49. It's a pretty nice tool to get for $49. You open it up. You can open it up by squeezing this little trigger here. And that opens up, and you can put your staples in there. These staples kind of slide right over the thing there. You just fit them right over that thing and slide them in. And then you'll have to take those staples out if you're going to use the Brad nails, and you just stick the Brad nails right on the top there. And then you just take this thing and snap it shut, and then it's ready to go. Put it, hook your air compressor hose up there, and pa-pow, pa-pow. And I'll show you, just give you an example. I mean, look at how nice it put those staples. Not one staple is sticking up there. They're all almost buried in there, which is exactly what I wanted. So that worked really well. And this thing's put together pretty tight. You know, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm pretty happy with it. You know, I'm pretty happy with the freedom of being retired. There's a lot to say for that. In fact, I feel freedom all the way around. I mean, you know, there's some people that complain and gripe about the way things are in our country, but I mean, look what I have here. And why would I complain? I have everything that I want. And how did I get that? I'll tell you what, it was on a blue collar income. I had a high school education and that was it. And I'll tell you what, I did really, really poorly in school. I got the lowest grades you could get, and I don't even know how I graduated or how I passed. I think they pushed me through. I was already a year ahead of the other kids in my class. But I got a job with the park system, stuck with it, worked my way up the ladder, and ended up with a pretty good pension. But I didn't get any of this for free. None of this was handed to me. I like to say that I got a lot of this through prayer. Now, I didn't pray that, you know, oh God, please give me this beautiful log house. Lord, please give me money so that I can do this and that I can do that. God, please give me this property. No, I just prayed that God would lead me in whatever decisions that I made, that I'd be making the right decision. And I always prayed that the doors would be open to me. Well, the first door that was open to me is when I bought this property, which was nothing more than a miracle. I mean, I'm driving down the road, I'm looking for property, and I was getting discouraged. I didn't find anything. But I see this sign down here. It's half buried in the weeds. And so I got out and I parked on the side of the road, put my hazards on, and I walked in and everything was a swamp. And I thought, well, there's a sign right there why nobody's bought this property. I put my muck boots on and I walked in through the mushy, swampy area and, you know, battled through the briars, and I started coming uphill, uphill, uphill. And I mean, you can see how that drops down there. Everything up on this end was up on this hill. And I thought, oh my gosh. Well, I had background in construction with the park system, and I knew that you can get across that swamp area. You know, there's geofabrics and stuff that you can lay down, stone on top of that. You can layer some stuff down, basically bridge right across it. And I thought it can be done. And I put an offer on that swampland that nobody else wanted, and I got it for a steal. The lady that owned it was an obese woman way up in Strongsville, Parma area. She'd never even seen the property. It was part of her father's estate. You know, she's got it through her estate when her father passed away. And she was in no position to come look at the property or even care about it. She just was told that, yeah, it's all swampy in the front. It's been on the market for years and she couldn't get rid of it. So she took my offer. Now that alone was a miracle. When I tell people what I paid for this, I got 5.5 acres here, they can't believe it. They go, what? You that for that price you got 5.5 acres? Yep. And I, you know, again, I say it's through the power of prayer. I just asked that the Lord would open the doors for me, and He always has. He's given me the strength and the knowledge and the fortitude to build this house by myself. And that saved me a lot of money too. And I was able to do it on a low budget, which normally I wouldn't have been able to afford. So, yeah, I think, you know, prayer has been very critical for me in getting what I have. And now when I look at everything I have, the beauty of everything I have, and how much I have, I just realize how blessed I am. I realize how blessed God has blessed me with so much that I don't even deserve. And so now, you know, it's kind of my thing that I just want to share it with family and friends. I don't want to be selfish about it. Um, so there's a freedom now that I have. You guys know that I lost my wife about 2.5 years ago. And when I was married to her, the two of us were one. So I didn't make decisions on my own. It was always, something that she was compatible with. And she was never real big on, entertaining guests other than family. She didn't mind, serving a Thanksgiving dinner here or a Christmas dinner or something like that and having the kids come over and enjoy a day of just, having good food and fellowship. But as far as having the neighbors over or anything like that, yeah, she was like, I don't know. And this past Memorial weekend, I had my whole family over here. I probably had 25 people over here, and we just had the best time ever. And if and I don't mean anything bad by it, but if she was here, she would probably have kind of put the skids on that, saying, I don't know, it's been raining, it's wet, they're going to track all kinds of mud in the house, and I don't think I'm up for that. But I went ahead and I opened my doors and I let the family come. It was wet, it wasn't real muddy, but it was a little soft. And they were in and out, in and out, in and out. And you know what? There's no mud in my house. I haven't even swept the floor. It was, I can't even explain it. I'm looking at I go, wait a minute. There was kids running through here and family and everybody coming in and out, in and out. We had the bonfire back here by the fire pit, and we shot fireworks off over there by the dock. And they were using my kitchen, they were using the bathroom. It's like nobody even came. The house is like perfect. And again, I can't explain that away. I just feel blessed, and I feel like I'm blessed that I can share it like that, and that's what I want to do. I like to say none of this is mine. I give it all to the Lord. I give it all to God. I say, God, this is yours. You created this through me, but you used me to create this, and it's just beautiful. It's just, it's beyond my expectations, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what, everybody that comes over here, I had a delivery guy come yesterday, and he was just like, wow, this place is awesome. This is really nice. Thank you, but I give credit to the Lord Jesus, not me. I'm going to walk down and get the mail. I can use the exercise. I haven't done much else today. I was hoping that I could go riding this weekend, and of course I could. I could go riding right now, but it's the chill factor is down there where it's almost uncomfortable. It rained this morning, and the sun's starting to come out right now for the first time today, but it's still very cold. So I'm hoping tomorrow it might reach 70. So that's a big change from today. And but I'm gonna take off in the morning, so it's supposed to get down to 40 tonight. So I don't know how cold it's gonna be in the morning when I take off, but that's what leathers are for. And then by afternoon the leathers are gonna be coming off, so I got to make sure I bring along some extra bungee straps to tie my leather down. I don't think my saddlebags can hold all of that. I can never come down here to get my mail without a car zooming by. It's 60 miles an hour. And, if I continued walking to the mailbox right about the time that I get there, that van goes sweeping by. So maybe I can get out there and get my mail without getting killed. Oh, here comes another one. It's zooming by. get killed over nothing but junk mail. That's mostly all I get anymore. I don't even know why I get mail, because 90% of it is junk that I don't need. Stuff that I can throw away. Paper, trees that are wasted. I started to say earlier, about having the freedom. And since I have been single, for a while I thought, I'm going to have somebody. I'm going to have to find, another partner. I can't do this alone. But after 2.5 years have gone by, I'm pretty good with being single, with being a bachelor. I'm very comfortable with it. And part of that is, having the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, to go to bed when I want, whenever I want, to make whatever purchases I want, whenever I want. I mean, there's a freedom to being single that really is almost equal to having a partner. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, but I'm finding out that I'm very comfortable this way, and I really enjoy life at this point. My wife was a list maker, and she was always had a list. She always had a running calendar of we got to do this on this day, we got to do this on that day, we need to go to the grocery store on this day, and here's all the stuff we need to get. So everything was very structured in my marriage. And now that I'm single, there's no structure. Well, I do have structure, but I mean, it's not like it was. I do like to keep a running grocery list over here. Just so that when I go to the grocery store, I don't forget something that I need, toilet paper, or, nothing worse than getting home and going, oh, shoot, you know what I forgot? And it's something important that you really needed. So, I do have some structure, but my daily schedule is up in the air to whatever I feel like. And man, that freedom is just wonderful. I can come over here and sit down and, look at my phone, have sip on my coffee, and just enjoy life. And I don't have somebody saying, "Are you about ready to leave? Or is that what you're going to wear? Are you hungry yet? Shouldn't we think about fixing something to eat?" And so on and so forth, And then it's even like in the evening when I sit down and I feel like watching something on the TV, whether it's watching YouTube clips or a Netflix movie or something like that. It doesn't have to be something compatible with somebody else. Like, I'm not sure if I like this or not. Can you find something else to watch? Yeah, you've probably heard that before if you got a partner. On another topic, any of you guys have I know some of you do have the Insta360 camera. It's the new camera, a little tiny thing that when you film with it, it films 360 degrees around all the time. So when you edit it, you can choose any angle, on the 360 degree video that you're editing. It's an interesting thing, and I bought one a while ago, and I've been reluctant to use it because it has its own editing program, and there's somewhat of a learning curve to it. So I do plan on using it mostly for riding the motorcycle. I'm going to have it attached to the bike where it almost looks like there's a drone. You can't see the camera or the rod that it's attached to, but it looks like the camera's out in front of you or behind you, floating in the air. So that's what those are. They're from the 360 cams. and they're just small. I mean, I think it's a little bit smaller than my cell phone, and very lightweight, and it has a telescopic rod that I think goes up to 6 foot. It bolts right onto the bike wherever you want to mount it, and then you can extend it out as far as you want. I don't know at 6 feet how much bobbing around it would do. Once you're going down the road, you might not be able to have it out too far. Maybe 3 foot or something will be a little more steady, but I don't know how steady that rod is if you extend it all the way out to get that drone shot. Anyways, I'll have to experiment with it someday, and then take the time to do the editing and see how it works, so that I can include that on my videos and include you in some of my motorcycle rides. Like I said, I've been riding, but I don't take the camera with me. I just don't. I don't know if you would call it lazy, but trying to film while you're riding the motorcycle can be a little difficult. Not to say it's also dangerous as well. And so, I can mount the camera on my bike, which I've done before, but it just kind of gives you a static shot of either looking straight ahead, where you might be able to see the front wheel a little bit, or, aimed back at me, where you can just see me like, duh, we're going down the road. So I thought I'd like to have something a little more interesting. And really, I haven't ridden any place interesting enough to take the camera along and video the whole thing. There are going to be some events this summer that I'm going to attend that are biker related things, some poker runs and things like that, God willing, and I will bring the camera on those. I got a tight schedule this summer, man. I mean, so far it's been booked pretty solid, and it looks like the rest of my summer's filling up too, because I got more family to entertain coming up here. I've got some camping trips planned already, some motorcycle events on the docket. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy summer, and I hope the weather is a little bit nicer for us, because in Northeast Ohio right now, it stinks. It just plain stinks. Well, cats, thanks for watching today and hanging in there with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, boost my channel up a little bit. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and join me on this adventure in life. An old retired guy, living life to the fullest, or trying to anyways. I don't know. Sometimes my videos seem a little drab and boring, but believe me, I've had some really good experiences already. So until next time, cats, I'll catch you all later.